The most dangerous alarm clock in your life is not the one that rings too early. It is the one you never set at all, because every morning you wake up without intention is a morning that quietly steals a piece of your future. And if you are still listening right now, it means something inside you knows that your life could be more sharper, stronger, and clearer than it is today. Every great change begins before the sun rises. Not because the morning is magical, but because the mind is. When the world is quiet, when messages have not yet invaded your attention, when excuses are still asleep, that is when your true self speaks the loudest. Most people never hear that voice because they wake up already running, already reacting, already late for their own lives. They check their phone before they check their heart. They scroll through other people's dreams before touching their own. And then they wonder why they feel lost, tired, and confused even before the day begins. A morning routine is not about waking up early just to suffer. It is not about copying someone else's schedule or pretending to be disciplined for a week and then quitting. A morning routine is a daily agreement you make with yourself that says, before the world takes something from me, I will give something to myself. That agreement, repeated every day, changes the direction of your life more powerfully than any single big decision you will ever make. Look at your life honestly. The way you start your day is the way you live your life. If you start your day rushed, you live rushed. If you start your day distracted, you live distracted. If you start your day complaining, you live complaining. But if you start your day with clarity, with intention, with energy, and with gratitude, your entire life slowly begins to follow that same rhythm. This is not philosophy. This is cause and effect. Many people say they do not have time in the morning. This is the biggest lie they tell themselves. You always have time for what you value. You find time to worry. You find time to scroll. You find time to complain. Time is not the problem. Priority is the problem. When your future becomes your priority, you will discover time you never knew existed. The morning is not just a part of the day. It is the foundation of the day. If the foundation is weak, the building will shake no matter how beautiful the top looks. You can work hard all day, but if you start your morning without direction, you will spend the rest of the day fixing problems instead of creating opportunities. A strong morning routine does not guarantee success, but a weak one almost guarantees regret. When you wake up early, you are not competing with others. You are competing with your old self. You are telling yesterday's habits that they no longer control you. You are proving to your own mind that you can do hard things even when no one is watching. This builds a quiet confidence that no motivational quote can ever give you. Confidence is not shouting to the world that you are strong. Confidence is waking up every morning, knowing you kept a promise to yourself in the early hours. Your mind is fresh, uncluttered, and honest. This is the best time to think, to plan, to learn, and to reflect. During the day, your brain is busy surviving. In the morning, it is free to create. That is why the most important conversations you will ever have should happen before breakfast. Conversations with yourself about who you want to become, what matters today, and what you will not waste your energy on. A powerful morning routine does not need to be complicated. Simplicity is strength. The goal is not to do many things, but to do the right things consistently. Even 10 focused minutes every morning can change the quality of your thinking. Reading a few pages, writing down your thoughts, moving your body, sitting in silence, or reminding yourself of your purpose may seem small, but small things done daily create massive results over time. People often ask, what is the best morning routine? The best routine is the one you can follow even on difficult days. Discipline is not about perfection. Discipline is about showing up even when you are tired, bored, or unmotivated, especially then. Motivation is emotional and temporary. Routine is logical and permanent. When motivation disappears, routine carries you forward. The morning teaches you a powerful lesson. You do not need perfect conditions to start. You only need a decision. You do not need to feel ready. You become ready by doing. Every morning you wake up and choose effort over comfort. You train your mind to face challenges instead of running from them. This training does not just help you in the morning, it helps you in business, in relationships, and in life. There will be days when the bed feels heavier than your dreams. There will be mornings when your mind negotiates with you, promising that tomorrow will be better. Those mornings matter the most, because every time you give in, you strengthen the habit of delay. And every time you get up anyway, you strengthen the habit of leadership over yourself. A morning routine also teaches patience. Results do not come immediately. You will not wake up one day and suddenly feel successful. But slowly, almost invisibly, your thinking becomes clearer, your decisions become sharper, and your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. One day you will look back and realize that your life changed not because of one big event, but because of many small mornings where you chose yourself. In the early hours, there is no applause. No one likes your effort. No one comments on your discipline. And that is why it is so powerful. You are not doing it for recognition. You are doing it for alignment. Alignment between who you are today and who you want to become tomorrow. When these two start to match, life feels less stressful and more meaningful. The morning routine is also where you learn to control your emotions. Instead of waking up and reacting to problems, you prepare your mind to respond. You remind yourself that challenges are part of growth, not signs of failure. You ground yourself before the chaos begins. This emotional stability becomes your competitive advantage in a world full of panic and noise. Many people chase success without building the habits that support it. They want results without structure. But success is not random, it follows order. And the first order of the day is the morning. If you cannot manage your morning, you cannot manage your life. Leadership begins at home, and home begins in your own mind when you wake up. Your morning routine is a mirror. It reflects how much you respect your own potential. When you rush through the morning without care, you send a message to yourself that your future can wait. When you protect your morning with intention, you send a different message, one that says your growth is non-negotiable. Over time, mornings become sacred, not because they are easy, but because they are yours. No one can take them unless you give them away. And once you experience the clarity, the calm, and the quiet confidence that comes from a strong morning routine, you will never want to go back to waking up lost. The world will always demand more from you. More speed, more attention, more energy. If you do not refill yourself every morning, you will live in constant exhaustion. The morning routine is not selfish. It is responsible. You cannot give your best to others if you have not first given clarity to yourself. There's a powerful shift that happens when you stop saying, I have to wake up, and start saying, I get to wake up. Gratitude in the morning changes your relationship with time. Instead of feeling chased by the day, you feel prepared for it. This mindset alone can transform stress into focus. Think about the person you admire most. Their success is not an accident. Behind it is a set of invisible habits, repeated daily, especially in the morning. You may never see that part, but it exists. Success is built in private long before it is displayed in public. A morning routine is also a training ground for self-trust. Every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that your word matters. And when you trust yourself, you make braver decisions. You stop settling. You stop doubting every step. This internal trust is more valuable than any external validation. You do not need to wake up at the same time as someone else. You do not need to follow a perfect schedule. You only need consistency. Choose a time that challenges you but does not break you. Choose actions that energize you, not punish you. The goal is progress, not suffering. The greatest benefit of a morning routine is not productivity, it is identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who takes control, who prepares, who leads. And once your identity changes, your behavior follows naturally. You no longer need motivation because you are simply acting in alignment with who you believe you are. Life will test you. Some mornings you will fail. That is normal. What matters is not the missed morning, but the return. Do not let one bad day become a bad week. And do not let a bad week become a bad life. Forgive yourself quickly and start again. The sun rises every day without holding grudges. Learn from it. As you continue this practice, you will notice something surprising. Problems that once felt overwhelming will feel manageable. Opportunities you once missed will become visible. This is not luck. This is clarity. When your mind is clear, you see better. When you see better, you choose better. The power of a morning routine is quiet but unstoppable. It does not shout. It does not rush. It simply shows up every day, shaping your future one sunrise at a time. Reminding you that before you try to change the world, the most important victory is winning the first hour of your day. When you begin to master your mornings, you begin to understand the truth that ancient wisdom has whispered for centuries. Light always comes before revelation. Long before success shows its face in the marketplace, It reveals itself quietly in discipline, in patience, and in the unseen moments where you choose order over chaos. The morning is that light. It exposes who you really are when there is no audience and no reward except the peace of knowing you are walking the right path. There is a reason why truth feels heavier in the morning. Your mind is not yet numbed by noise, and your conscience has not yet been negotiated with. This is the hour when excuses sound weak and purpose sounds strong. It is the hour when you are most honest with yourself, and honesty is the birthplace of transformation. When you consistently meet yourself in this space, you begin to live less in illusion and more in alignment. Many people pray for clarity without realizing that clarity comes through order. Disorder creates confusion, but order invites wisdom. A morning routine is not a ritual for the body alone. It is a ritual for the soul. It teaches you to pause before you pursue, to listen before you speak, and to prepare before you perform. These are not just habits of successful people. They are principles of a meaningful life. In those quiet hours, you start to recognize patterns. You notice what distracts you, what drains you, and what strengthens you. Awareness grows, and with awareness comes responsibility. You stop blaming circumstances and start adjusting systems. You stop asking why life is hard and start asking how you can become stronger. This shift is subtle, but it changes everything. The morning also humbles you. It reminds you that every day is a gift, not a guarantee. When you wake up early and choose discipline, you are acknowledging that time is precious and that wasting it is a form of disrespect to your own potential. This humility keeps you grounded even when success arrives, because you remember the quiet mornings that built it. There is an ancient truth that says whatever you feed grows and whatever you neglect weakens. The morning is when you decide what you will feed: fear or faith, distraction or direction, comfort or courage. These choices may seem small, but they compound quickly. Feed your mind with intention early, and it will protect you later when pressure increases. As your routine deepens, resilience becomes part of your character. You stop being shaken by small setbacks because you have already conquered something difficult before the day even begins. You carry that victory with you like armor. Even when plans fail or people disappoint you, you remain steady because your strength no longer depends on external approval. The morning routine also sharpens your sense of responsibility. You begin to understand that no one is coming to save you, and that realization is not frightening, it is freeing. When you take ownership of your mornings, you take ownership of your life. You stop waiting for motivation, for permission, or for perfect timing. You act because action is who you are becoming. There is a quiet spiritual discipline in repetition. Doing the right thing daily, even when it feels ordinary, trains your soul to remain faithful in small matters. And faithfulness in small things has always been the gateway to greater things. The morning routine teaches you to honor the process, not just chase the outcome. Over time, you will notice that your words change. You complain less, you speak with more intention. This happens because your mind is no longer cluttered with urgency. You have already centered yourself. You have already reminded yourself of what matters. When your inner world is calm, your outer world becomes easier to navigate. The morning also strengthens your patience with others. When you are no longer rushing to catch up with your own life, you stop projecting pressure onto people around you. You listen better. You respond with wisdom instead of impulse. This emotional maturity is rare, and it is born from inner order, not talent. There is also courage in routine, the courage to face yourself daily without distraction, to confront your weaknesses honestly and still show up. This courage builds integrity, and integrity builds influence. People may not know why they trust you, but they feel it. They feel the steadiness that comes from a life built intentionally, not accidentally. The world celebrates loud victories, but the most powerful victories are quiet. Winning the morning is one of them. No applause, no shortcuts, just consistency. And consistency is a language the universe understands. It responds to it with growth, with opportunity, and with doors that open at the right time. As days turn into months, you will realize that your morning routine has become an anchor. When life storms arrive, and they always do, you are not swept away. You return to your anchor. You return to your routine. You return to the place where you remember who you are and why you started. There is a scripture-inspired truth that reminds us that those who are faithful in the unseen are entrusted with what is seen. The morning is unseen by most, but it is where trust is built. Trust in yourself. Trust in your path. Trust that steady effort, guided by purpose, will not be wasted. Eventually, your mornings stop feeling like discipline and start feeling like devotion, not to a routine, but to a vision. You are no longer forcing yourself to wake up early. You are being pulled by something greater than comfort, a sense of calling, a quiet certainty that you are becoming who you are meant to be. When you reach this stage, productivity becomes a side effect, not the goal. Peace becomes more valuable than speed. Progress becomes more important than praise. You are no longer chasing the day, you are leading it. The power of a morning routine is not that it changes your schedule, but that it changes your standards. You no longer accept chaos as normal. You no longer accept mediocrity as fate. You raise the bar for how you think, how you act, and how you live. And slowly, without dramatic announcements, your life begins to reflect that inner shift. Opportunities align, relationships improve, decisions feel lighter because they are rooted in clarity, not confusion. This is not coincidence. This is the natural outcome of living intentionally. The morning becomes your reminder that every day holds the potential for renewal. No matter what happened yesterday, today begins with a choice. And that choice, made consistently, becomes destiny. When you start to see mornings as more than a time on the clock, you begin to see them as a form of worship. Worship of your potential, worship of your purpose, and worship of the life you are capable of creating. In the quiet of early hours, when the world is still soft and possibilities are endless, you meet the version of yourself that is fearless, patient, and wise. This is a sacred moment because it is a moment where you choose creation over reaction, where you shape your day rather than being shaped by it. There is a timeless principle hidden in the first hours of the day. What you honor in the morning determines what you cherish in life. If you honor laziness, the day will echo with distraction. If you honor fear, the day will echo with hesitation. But if you honor growth, preparation, and integrity, the entire day will mirror that reverence. Every choice, every habit, every breath in the morning is a declaration of who you are and what you value most deeply. And the universe responds to that declaration in ways that are quiet but unstoppable. You will find that the morning has a way of sharpening your vision. Problems that seemed insurmountable in the chaos of the afternoon suddenly feel manageable. Decisions that felt paralyzing in the evening suddenly feel clear. This is because your mind, unburdened by the noise of the world, is closest to the divine order in those first hours. It is in the morning that you can truly hear the whisper of truth that guides your path if you are willing to listen. Consider the spiritual lesson of sowing and reaping. What you plant in the morning, discipline, reflection, gratitude, intention, is what will bear fruit in the hours that follow. Neglect the morning, and you sow disorder and regret. Invest in it, and you sow clarity, courage, and opportunity. Just as a farmer does not question the soil after a seed is planted, you must trust that your early efforts, though invisible at first, will grow into a harvest that changes your life. The morning also teaches the art of surrender. Surrender not to weakness, but to rhythm. Surrender not to chaos, but to structure. By choosing to rise early and act with purpose, you accept that life is not random and that your destiny is shaped by consistent, faithful actions. There is freedom in this surrender because it relieves you from the tyranny of indecision and scattered energy. You are no longer reacting, you are aligning. A disciplined morning reminds you of the sacredness of small victories. You may not feel heroic when you choose to meditate for 10 minutes, write down your goals, or simply make your bed with care, but these small victories are the bricks that build empires of the mind and soul. Scripture says that faithfulness in small things. NGS leads to trust in greater things, and the morning is your daily school of faithfulness. Every day you show up, you demonstrate that you are worthy of trust, first from yourself, then from the world. There is a deeper lesson here. Time is not your enemy, you are. Most people are held back not by external circumstances, but by the choices they make before the world even wakes. A morning routine teaches mastery over self, and mastery over self is the foundation of mastery over destiny. Once you learn to command the first hours of your day, the rest of your life begins to follow with less resistance and more clarity. Mornings are also a mirror of integrity. When no one is watching and no one is applauding, the actions you take then are the truest measure of your character. Will you rise when it is easy to sleep? Will you think when it is easier to scroll? Will you plan when it is easier to procrastinate? These choices, unseen but powerful, silently sculpt the person you are becoming. Integrity is not declared in words. It is proven in the quiet consistency of action. Furthermore, the morning nurtures a spirit of gratitude. In the stillness, before the day's demands, you can acknowledge the gift of life itself, the breath in your lungs, the strength in your limbs, the opportunity in front of you. Gratitude in the morning sets a tone of abundance rather than scarcity. It transforms challenges into lessons and setbacks into opportunities to grow. The heart that wakes in gratitude carries a momentum that the world cannot easily shake. The discipline of the morning also strengthens your resilience against distraction. In an age of constant noise, the ability to focus becomes a superpower. When you train your mind to commit to intentional morning practices, you are training it to resist every trivial interruption, every seductive shortcut, and every momentary desire that could steer you from your path. Focus is a muscle, and the morning is the gym. Another powerful truth revealed in the morning is that preparation is a form of prevention. Chaos, panic, and regret often result not from failure, but from being unprepared. By investing in the early hours, clarifying your priorities, organizing your thoughts, and strengthening your body, you prevent the majority of mistakes before they even occur. A wise person does not wait for opportunity to strike. They prepare so that when it does, they are ready. The morning also offers a rare opportunity for creative communion with the unseen. There is a spiritual rhythm to life that rewards early alignment. Ideas that elude you during the noisy hours often arrive unannounced in the quiet of dawn. Insights that change the trajectory of your work, relationships, or character often appear before the first cup of coffee, before the world demands your attention. Creativity, like faith, flourishes in disciplined spaces of stillness. Consistency in the morning teaches endurance. The world is full of brilliant bursts that fall under pressure. But a life built on faithful mornings is steady and unstoppable. Every day you rise and choose to act intentionally. You prove to yourself that your will is stronger than excuses, that your commitment is stronger than discomfort, and that your potential is far greater than your fears. Over time, endurance becomes not just a habit, but a part of your identity. And as you continue, you will discover that the morning is not merely a time, it is a teacher. It teaches patience, clarity, courage, resilience, gratitude, focus, creativity, and integrity all at once. It reminds you daily that your life is not shaped by chance, but by choice, and that every sunrise brings a new opportunity to choose wisely. Those who honor the morning honor life itself, and in doing so, they awaken to the truth that greatness is not found in grand gestures, but in small, disciplined, daily commitments that accumulate into legacy. The morning also teaches the profound power of intentionality. Every sunrise is a gift, not a guarantee. When you rise with purpose, even before the world demands your attention, you are declaring to the universe that your life will not be a series of reactions, but a deliberate creation. Scripture reminds us that the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, and there is no time more diligent than the hours before dawn. The quiet before the day begins is fertile soil for planting the seeds of vision, for shaping not only your actions, but your destiny. There is a sacred rhythm in beginning your day with focus rather than frenzy. Most people step into the day hurried, scattered, and overwhelmed, and yet they wonder why life feels heavy. But those who master the early hours step forward with clarity, and clarity multiplies influence, productivity, and peace. It is in these moments that the mind aligns with purpose, the heart aligns with courage, and the spirit aligns with direction. The morning is not simply a time, it is a stage where your potential steps onto the spotlight of reality. The discipline of the morning also cultivates discernment. When your senses are sharpened by routine, you begin to notice the subtle opportunities that others overlook. The quiet hours teach you to separate what is urgent from what is important, what is fleeting from what is enduring. and what is trivial from what is essential. Wisdom, like light, shines brightest in stillness. The morning grants you that light, giving you vision to see beyond distractions, to choose the right path even when it is lonely or challenging. Furthermore, the morning becomes a mirror for self-mastery. As you rise and commit to your chosen practices, you confront yourself directly, your fears, your weaknesses, your doubts. You cannot hide behind excuses. You cannot rely on external motivation. You face the truth of who you are and who you want to become. And in doing so, you practice courage in its purest form, the courage to keep moving forward even when no one is watching, even when the reward is invisible, even when the struggle is real. The morning also teaches the power of incremental growth. Transformation is rarely explosive. It is often invisible at first, like water eroding stone. A few minutes of reflection, gratitude, or planning each day may seem insignificant, but over months and years, these small acts compound into character, clarity, and resilience. Scripture tells us, faithful in little, faithful in much, and the morning is where faithfulness begins. It is the laboratory of progress, where the invisible work of the soul shapes the visible trajectory of your life. There is also an aspect of accountability in the morning that cannot be overstated. When you commit to your own growth before the world demands your attention, you are holding yourself to a higher standard. You are proving that you will not wait for others to lead, for circumstances to be perfect, or for motivation to arrive. You create momentum from within, and momentum once built is unstoppable. It carries you through obstacles, distractions, and even failures because it is anchored in daily action and self-respect. The morning teaches patience, for not all progress is immediate. You may rise faithfully and feel no visible change, yet the unseen work is shaping your resilience, your judgment, and your character. Scripture reminds us, let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not give up. Each sunrise is a promise. Your diligence will bear fruit, even if the harvest is invisible today. Trust in the process, for the morning rewards the faithful more than it rewards the hurried or the reckless. A strong morning routine also inspires humility. You learn that greatness is not a function of talent alone, but of preparation and consistency. You see that the world does not reward excuses, and that opportunity often favors the prepared. There is a quiet power in realizing that your destiny is shaped not by luck or recognition, but by faithful alignment with your values. And the morning is the crucible in which that alignment is forged. The morning also nurtures generosity of spirit. When you begin your day with clarity, calm, and purpose, you have more patience for others, more understanding in your interactions, and more compassion in your decisions. You are not ruled by frustration or distraction. Instead, you operate from a place of strength. And from that strength, you can uplift, encourage, and lead. The discipline you cultivate for yourself becomes a gift for everyone around you. Moreover, the morning is a teacher of courage in its subtler forms. It teaches the courage to be consistent when the world celebrates only dramatic success. It teaches the courage to persevere when immediate results are invisible. It teaches the courage to trust the process, to honor the unseen, and to act faithfully in the absence of applause. These small acts of courage accumulate silently, yet they form the backbone of every great achievement. Finally, the morning reminds us that life is a sacred stewardship. Every sunrise is a responsibility entrusted to you, not to be wasted in aimless routines, distractions, or complaints, but to be used to cultivate wisdom, growth, and impact. Scripture tells us, redeem the time, for the days are evil. How much of your life is lost to negligence, hesitation, or passivity? The morning offers redemption, a daily opportunity to reclaim control, to shape your mind, and to align your actions with the highest version of yourself. Those who embrace this truth step into the day not as passive participants, but as architects of destiny, as stewards of their own potential, and as witnesses to the transformative power of a life intentionally begun. When you rise early with purpose, you begin to understand that mornings are more than just hours on a clock. They are portals to your destiny. They are the quiet corridors where vision meets action and where intention transforms into reality. Scripture teaches us that the heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. The morning is when your heart is most open, most alert, and most capable of receiving insight that the noise of the day will later drown. To waste these hours is to ignore the gift of clarity that precedes every opportunity. The morning also teaches the power of momentum. When you begin your day with discipline, you are not simply completing tasks. You are setting a rhythm for your life. Like a stone dropped into still water, each deliberate action creates ripples that extend far beyond the hour in which it occurs. Motivation is fleeting, but momentum built through consistent mornings carries you through fatigue, setbacks, and distraction. One small choice repeated daily becomes the force that propels you forward, even when the world seems to resist. There is an element of courage that the morning cultivates, a quiet, unshakable courage that grows from repeated practice. It is the courage to confront your weaknesses before they dictate your day. It is the courage to plan when it is easier to procrastinate, to reflect when it is easier to react, to move when it is easier to wait. Each morning you show up, you strengthen this courage, and it becomes a shield against the storms of life. Scripture reminds us, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Rising early is an act of faith in yourself and in the potential of the hours ahead. The morning is also a teacher of gratitude and perspective. In the early hours, when the world is still hushed, you can reflect on the blessings that are often overlooked in the chaos of the day. Breathing in the stillness, acknowledging the gift of life, health, and opportunity, you cultivate a mindset of abundance. This mindset transforms not just your day, but the way you approach every challenge. When gratitude becomes a habit of the morning, it shapes your responses, your decisions, and even your relationships, allowing you to operate from a place of generosity rather than scarcity. Moreover, the morning illuminates the importance of preparation over reaction. Life will always present unexpected trials, but those who have disciplined mornings are prepared mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to face them. You begin the day not as a participant in chaos, but as a strategist in control of your own actions. Scripture teaches, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. By taking refuge in the morning, you are not avoiding life. You are equipping yourself to engage it with power, clarity, and wisdom. A consistent morning routine also strengthens the invisible muscles of character, patience, self-control, and discernment. In the quiet hours, you learn to sit with yourself, to confront your inner doubts, and to align your actions with your deepest values. These practices, though unseen by others, fortify your mind and spirit in ways that visible accomplishments cannot. They prepare you to navigate life's complexities with grace and confidence, because when your foundation is strong, external storms have less power over you. The morning further cultivates a sense of responsibility, not just to yourself, but to those whose lives you touch. When you wake intentionally, you honor the gifts and opportunities entrusted to you, and you demonstrate that life is to be stewarded wisely. The way you begin your day echoes through your interactions, your decisions, and your impact on the world. Scripture reminds us, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Your disciplined morning is the first act of stewardship in every day. Even more, the morning is a reminder that greatness is cultivated in silence before it is recognized in the world. Few will see your early discipline, and fewer will understand its significance. But the unseen efforts of the morning, the meditate, ion, the reading, the planning, the stretching, the reflection, these are the acts that quietly prepare you for visible success. Scripture teaches, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Similarly, the treasures of your mornings may be unseen now, but they will manifest in wisdom, resilience, and influence over time. The morning also shapes your emotional landscape. When you begin with calm and intention, you carry serenity into the chaos of the day. Anger, impatience, and fear lose their grip because you have already anchored your mind and heart. This emotional clarity allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It enables you to lead with compassion, to negotiate with wisdom, and to engage with life not as a battlefield, but as a garden where your choices plant seeds of peace and progress. Finally, the morning is the arena where identity is forged. Every deliberate action, every choice to rise, every moment spent in reflection shapes the person you become. Who you are in the early hours becomes who you are in life's most challenging moments. Scripture reminds us, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. The discipline, courage, and focus you cultivate each morning is not merely habit. It is transformation. It redefines your character, your potential, and your legacy. To honor the morning is to honor the person you are destined to be and to step each day closer to a life of purpose, impact, and divine alignment. The hours before dawn are a silent teacher, a hidden treasure, and a faithful guide. They whisper truths that the noise of the day will try to drown, yet those who listen are blessed beyond measure. To rise with intention is to claim the authority over your time, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. It is a choice that multiplies, a practice that compounds, and a discipline that transforms. Those who understand this principle discover that the morning is not merely the start of the day, it is the architect of a life fully lived. The morning is also the gateway to vision. When you rise while the world still sleeps, you allow your mind to see possibilities that others miss. Ideas are born in silence. Clarity is formed in reflection. Opportunities whisper to those who are awake enough to notice. Scripture teaches, where there is no vision, the people perish, and the morning is where vision begins. Not the kind that is reactive or pressured, but the kind that is deliberate, thoughtful, and aligned with purpose. Each day, the first hours give you the chance to design your life with intention, to map your steps before the noise of the world crowds out wisdom. Rising early also instills an unshakable sense of ownership. You begin to understand that life does not owe you clarity, success, or recognition. You must claim them. Every morning is a choice, to act or to drift, to lead or to follow, to honor your potential or let it fade. This daily act of ownership strengthens your mind and spirit, preparing you to face challenges with authority and confidence. Those who consistently seize their mornings are those who eventually seize their destiny because they have learned that success is cultivated in small, intentional acts repeated faithfully. The morning also deepens your connection to discipline and freedom simultaneously. It may seem paradoxical, but the more structure you place at the start of the day, the freer you feel throughout it. Structure is not limitation, it is liberation. When you begin with clear priorities, purposeful action, and focused thought, the rest of the day flows with less resistance. You are no longer pulled by circumstance, you are guided by intention. Scripture reminds us, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. Your diligence in the morning sets the course for productivity, creativity, and meaningful impact. In addition, the morning cultivates discernment between the urgent and the important. Most people are swept along by urgency, reacting to notifications, crises, and distractions without ever reflecting on their deeper goals. But those who honor the early hours learn to identify what truly matters. They separate fleeting desires from lasting priorities. They act with wisdom rather than impulse. The early hours train your judgment, helping you navigate complexity with patience, precision, and confidence. The morning also teaches resilience in a unique way. Life will test you, and adversity will find you even when the hours are calm. But if you have mastered the early hours, you face challenges with steadiness and grace. The discipline, focus, and clarity you cultivate before sunrise become tools to carry you through difficulties. Scripture reminds us, blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life. Your morning practice is the crucible where this steadfastness is forged. Furthermore, the morning is a sanctuary for your inner life. In these quiet hours, you can cultivate gratitude, reflection, and prayer without distraction. You can reconnect with your purpose and reaffirm the principles that guide you. This inner alignment strengthens your character, allowing you to approach the day with calmness, clarity, and courage. Life does not always grant us time to reflect, but the morning grants it freely to those who rise early enough to claim it. The early hours also foster creativity. Inspiration rarely strikes amid the noise of obligation and pressure. It emerges in stillness, focus, and clarity. When you rise early, you give yourself the gift of mental freedom, allowing your mind to explore ideas, solve problems, and see solutions that the hurried cannot. Scripture teaches that wisdom begins with understanding, and understanding begins with contemplation. The morning is your time for contemplation, the quiet forge where wisdom is born. The morning also reminds us that influence begins with self-mastery. Before you can lead others, Before you can inspire teams, before you can make an impact in the world, you must lead yourself. Rising with discipline, planning with intention, and acting with integrity are the first acts of leadership. They demonstrate that your authority is earned, not inherited. Scripture teaches that the one who rules their own spirit is greater than one who conquers a city. The morning is your first battlefield and your first victory of the day. Finally, the morning is a declaration of faith. Faith not in circumstance, not in luck, not in the favor of others, but in your own capacity to act, to grow, and to rise above limitation. Every sunrise is a reminder that life is not stagnant, that opportunities await those who are awake, and that consistent action produces results unseen by the untrained eye. Scripture tells us, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. When you commit your first hours to purpose, clarity, and preparation, the entire day is built on a foundation of intention that no obstacle can easily shake. In embracing the morning, you embrace a sacred rhythm that transforms more than hours. It transforms life. You awaken not only to a new day, but to a new version of yourself. Disciplined, wise, courageous, and capable of greatness. Those who rise early with intention discover that the world is not a force to endure, but a canvas to shape. Every morning is a promise, every sunrise a call, and every deliberate choice a step toward a life of impact, integrity, and fulfillment. The true power of the morning is that it equips you to live fully, to lead courageously, and to align your life with the highest vision of who you were created to be. And now, imagine the life you have always dreamed of. The clarity, the energy, the purpose, the courage to face every challenge, and the wisdom to see every opportunity. That life is not waiting somewhere in the future, it is waiting for you in the morning, in the quiet hours before the world demands your attention. Every sunrise is a gift, a chance to rise above yesterday's regrets, a chance to step closer to the person you were always meant to become. Do not let it slip away. The moment you choose to honor your mornings, you choose to honor your own potential, your own power, and your own destiny. This is the hour when champions are made, not in grand speeches, not in fleeting motivation, but in the small, consistent, unseen acts of discipline and intention. The world may not notice, the day may not reward immediately, but your soul will recognize the victory. Each time you rise, each time you take control of your morning, you are declaring to yourself that your life is too precious to drift, too valuable to waste, and too extraordinary to settle for ordinary. And as you stand at the edge of this choice, know that the power to transform your life is in your hands, right here, right now, as the first light of day brushes against the sky. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow is built by the actions you take today. The life you want, the growth you seek, the courage you need, they all begin in these sacred hours, with the simple yet profound decision to rise, to act, and to commit to yourself. So rise with intention. Step into the quiet, claim your time, and let every morning become a testament to your dedication, your courage, and your vision. The first moments of your day are more than minutes. They are a declaration of who you are and who you will become. And once you embrace this truth, once you honor the gift of each sunrise, you will discover a power within you that the world cannot take, circumstances cannot shake, and time cannot diminish. You are capable of more than you have ever imagined. And it all begins with the choice to rise.